Well, hello and welcome to another video of this series, and this is probably going to be the last video because this is the only functionality which is filtering through the budget entries. So that is the only functionality that is left as per my plan. If you want to expand this project as per your wish, you can, and if you need any help during that, I'm always be there. Just comment down your question in the comment section and I'll be happy to answer them. So anyway, let's start to code the filtering through the functionality of filtering through the budget entries in reports fragment. So we have a spinner for that in reports fragment. So let me show you which is not populated yet. So this is a spinner. We'll select values like I want data for 1 week from today, 1 month from today, or 6 months from today, or that's the three filters that we'll be developing. So we'll have filters as I said to display data of previous 1 week from today. Second filter will be to display previous month of data from today, and the third filter will be to display previous 6 months of data. So first we'll have to get the dates to filter through the data, right? So let's go to util function object that we have inside our util package, utility function, and here we'll make a function to get the end date given the starting date. So let's create a function fun get end date. This will receive days to count. Like for a week will pass 7 days, for a month will pass 30 days, or for 6 months will pass 6 months of days, right? Like so days to count, and this will be an integer, and this will return a string, the date in the form of string. So return type is string. Then we will have a calendar object. So while cal equals to calendar dot get instance, cal dot add calendar dot day of year, then minus days to count, right? Because we want previous days, not the next days. So we'll pass the negative values of the day count, and this will return. I will use this date millis to string function to convert the date into string, and we'll use this cal object dot time in millis. So that's it. Now we can use this function in our reports fragment. So now in the reports fragment, we'll have to create an array for different date ranges. So let's create that globally here. So private val date range array, date range array equals to array of the first value to display will be select date range. This will not have any use in our functionality. The second value will be 1 week. The third value will be 1 month, and another will be 6 months. And I'll also, well, I will have this in the quotation, and I'll also have an extra value to show all the values. So show all, or what should we write? Show all is fine, I guess. Anyway, we'll also need a start date to count the days, right? So we'll have late init var, which should be private again, private late init var, and this will be start date of type string. And now let's go to on view created. First of all, let me just change the title of I'm sorry, I opened something. Yeah, let me just change the title of the fragment. So I'll use activity dot title equals to spending reports. That would be a suitable title. So spending reports. Now we can also initialize the start date. Start date equals to, we'll create a function to initialize this value. So set start date, and let's create the function outside the on create. Let me just have some room to create that function. We don't need this. Let me just minimize these two functions and all of them, right? So yeah, let's create a function set start date, and this will be a private fun set start date, and this will return string, a date in the form of string. So string. Now date in millis will have today's date in this variable. So calendar calendar dot get instance dot time in millis. So this will be a long value of today's date, and we'll use that function to that we have in the utility function to convert that into string. So date millis to string, I guess. Let me just copy the name because I forgot actually the name of the function. Date millis to string. Yeah, now import that, and we'll pass this date in millis. So now our set start variable that we have in here will be initialized with today's date. Okay, so now next step is to populate our spinner with the array that we have here, date range. So let's create a function for that as well. So I'll name it set spinner values. Let's create a function set. Okay, sorry, I created it at the wrong place in the adapter, which we don't want. So yeah, that it is. So now inside this we'll populate our spinner, which is a straightforward deal. So let me just remove this to do statement. Well, array adapter equals to array adapter required context android dot r dot layout dot simple spinner item, and we'll pass that date range array that we have created. Yep, that it is. And then we'll use this array adapter to set drop down view resource, which will be small n android dot r dot layout dot simple spinner drop down item, and we'll now set this array adapter to the spinner, which is binding dot date range report spinner dot adapter equals to array adapter. That's it. Now we'll also be selecting values from this spinner. So for that, as usual, we'll do that in the on create method. So sorry, let me make some room to code. We'll use binding dot date range report spinner dot, we'll call on item selected listener. So on item selected listener equals to object adapter view dot on item selected listener, and in here we'll implement two methods, on item selected and on nothing selected. So now in on item selected we'll also check for condition. So let's write when statement, when parent So we actually don't have parent here, so let's try to change the names here. So adapter view will be parent, p1 will be view, p2 will be position, and p3 will be id, so it's more readable. Now when parent will also do null check. So when parent dot get item at position, dot get item at position will pass position. If the position, I'm doing at the wrong place. Yeah. So if it is 1 week, we want to call a function that fetches the data of today, a previous week from today, right? So we'll write some functionality here. We'll make a function for that, and if it is 1 month, we'll do some other things. So let's create that first. Now first of all, we'll need to make a function in budget DAO. So go to budget DAO first. Let's deal with that first before we move forward in reports fragment. So yeah, in here we'll make a function which will be a suspend function. Suspend function get reports between dates, and we'll have a start date which will be of today's date, start date in the form of long, and because we are saving dates in the form of long in milliseconds, which is long in the database, so it will be easier to if we pass long values as a parameter. So and date, which will also be a long, and this function will return a list of budget items. And let's write a query for this. Query select star from budget where date between start date and end date, and we'll also order by ID or maybe date, and this will be a descending order. Yeah, that's it. Now we can use this function. Let's go to budget repository, which is in here, budget repositories. Let me close this utility functions. So in here we'll make a function, suspend function get budget entries between dates, will pass start date of type long and end date of type long. This will be equals to budget DAO dot get reports between dates, and will pass start date and end date. That's it. Now we can close this as well. Let's close budget DAO as well. Now go to view models, which is budget view model, and in here we'll have two live data variables. One is mutable live data and another is just live data. So let's create those variables here. So first one is mutable live data, so I'll prefix that with underscore. So date range budget entries equals of type mutable live data, and this will be of type list of type budget equals to mutable live data. And we'll also have a live data which will have a same name but without prefix of underscore. So let's just copy it from here, of type live data of type list of type budget, which will be equals to these mutable live data variable. And also we'll need to create a function to post the value to this live data. So let's create a function here at this bottom of this budget update budget function. So this will be fun get reports between dates. We'll need to pass start date of type long, end date of type long, and equals to view model scope dot launch, and we'll take a variable response equals to budget repository dot get budget entries between dates. We'll pass start date and end date, and now we'll pass this response in this mutable live data. So get date range budget entries dot post values, sorry what I'm writing, dot post value, and we'll pass this response here, and that's it. Now let's go to reports fragment, and here now we can create a function to call that view model. So let's create a function, and we'll name that sorry, we need to create the outside of this on view created. So outside that, let me just make some room so it is more readable. So I'm gonna name a function private fun get reports between dates, and we need to pass start date of type long and end date of type long, and this function will have a variable well start equals to, we'll use this utility function dot date string to millis, and we'll pass end date because we need to pass the long variables here. So yeah, we need to convert that here. So well end equals to utility functions dot date yeah, we'll be passing the dates into string, and then we'll be able to convert that into the millis, right? So yeah, that was my mistake, sorry. So date string to millis and start. And if you're wondering why I'm using end date and I'm assigning it to a variable named start, and why I'm using start date and assigning to a variable named end, because when we are filtering through the database, when we are querying, the start date becomes the end date, that is the end value, and the end date that becomes the current value. So that's how that's why I'm using this kind of naming, right? So yeah, now we can call budget view model dot get reports between dates, and we can pass start and end. So start, and remember start date and end date is of type string, but we need to have of type millis, so that's why we use these functions here. Now we also will be observing those data. So budget view model dot date date range budget entries dot observe view we already have this parenthesis, view lifecycle owner open parenthesis. Now we can use this adapter to submit the new list of data. So reports adapter dot differ dot submit list, and we'll pass it because it is the list of budget here. So yeah, now we can use this function to call in the function here. So we'll when we select 1 week, so we'll call a function get reports between dates, and we'll pass start date, which already we have, and we'll get and end date, and we'll pass 7 because 1 week have 7 days, right? So that's why 7. And if we select 1 month, then we'll use the same function, but instead of 7 we'll pass 30. And again, if we select 6 months, sorry, we have capital M. Make sure you are using the same name here in the string that you have here in the array, otherwise it won't work, right? So yeah, and now we'll pass for 6 months it will be 180 days, sort of, yeah. And also I have show all, so show all, and on here if I select show all from the spinner, I want to get all the entries. I want to show all the entries for which we already have a function. So that's safe, we don't need to do anything else in here. And why it is showing up an error on item selected overrides nothing. Let's see. Okay, we have 2 int declaration. Okay, yeah, now it's resolved. Now we can run our application and see if it is working or not. So let's run it. Okay, so application is run. Now let's go to see reports. And okay, now if I select 1 week, we don't have any entries for 1 week. Okay, so now let me select 1 month. It will show up all the 3 entries. Now let's enter an entry which is older than a month. Let's select August 10, and on August 10th I spent £10 on let's say what can I buy for £10? I don't know, shoes. I'm gonna go for that if that's if I can find it, £10 shoes. Anyway, now let's go to see reports and select 1 month, and it will only show up 3 entries. And if I select 1 week, there is no entry of 1 week. If I select 6 months, it will then add that August entry, which is here. Sorry, this one is yeah. And if I let me go back to 1 month, and now let me select show all, which will show all the entries that we have entered so far. So yeah, that's how you filter through dates. And I think that is it for this playlist. And if you want me to implement an extra functionality to include in this playlist, just comment down that, and if it is efficient to make a tutorial on, I'll surely make that video for this playlist, for this application. And other than that, if you need help expanding this application on your own, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to answer. Just comment down and I'll try my best to answer this question. And if you like this video, please give a thumbs up and share it with your friends who are interested in learning Android development. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. That will help me a lot, and that gives me a lot of confidence and a lot of motivation to make more videos like this. So please subscribe and press the bell notification, so whenever I post a new video, you'll get a notification of that. So that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next video with a new playlist. See you.